Welcome back to CAISTROLOGY, and if you're new here, welcome. My name is Cailin, and today I'm going to be doing your June 2021 horoscopes. Wow, June is a huge month astrologically speaking, guys. We've got a new moon solar eclipse in Gemini, followed closely by the astrological event of the year, and that is the Saturn in Aquarius retro square Uranus in Taurus transit. And to top it off, we've got Mercury retrograde for the first 3 weeks of the month. If you didn't catch my May horoscopes, I strongly suggest that you watch the last few minutes of those, because I will discuss the Mercury retrograde transit for your sign at length. I won't be going over it again this month. If you want to skip the rest of this intro, go right ahead. I've got a timestamp in the description box below. But for the rest of you who are sticking around, just a note on which horoscope to watch. Your ascendant horoscope, otherwise known as your rising sign horoscope, will be the most accurate for you overall. By all means, go ahead and watch your sun and moon horoscopes as well. Your sun will pertain more to your career and your long-term goals, whereas your moon horoscope will be more about your home life, your living circumstances, and your emotional world. So without further ado, let's dive straight into the horoscopes. Hi Capricorn Sun, Moon and Risings. Welcome to your June 2021 horoscope. On the 6th of June, Mars in Cancer in your 7th house will oppose Pluto in Capricorn in your 1st house. This particular transit will require some kind of compromise between you and another person in your life who you have a relationship with. If it is a romantic partner, there may be some kind of argument or disagreement which takes place with regard to your family, your home life, whether that's buying, selling, or renting, and where the two of you should be living. Or it may be a disagreement to do with having children, your actual children that you already have, or it may even be about your long-term goals and your salary and how long it's actually taking you, or how long it will take you to achieve this financial position in your life. If you have a business partner, you may need to compromise about your long-term goals for the future and for the future of your relationship as well. You may be clashing over where you set up your physical business. So for example, where your office is located. Now you may experience a bit of tension with your second born child if you have one. They may accuse you of trying to control them with money, especially because Pluto represents wealth and resources, and it likes to control and to dominate. Now, you may experience a bit of tension with a friend or someone who's in your wider friendship network. It could be business related, or it could be with a business client. And also, just so you know, this is a brief transit. It's not going to affect you in the super long term, but it's just something to be mindful of. Now, on the 10th of June, there will be a new moon solar eclipse at 19 degrees in the sign of Gemini, and it will be conjunct Mercury, which will be retrograde. This will be in your 6th house, and it will all be squaring Neptune in Pisces in your 3rd house. New moons always indicate some kind of new beginning taking place, or a new chapter starting somewhere in our lives. And because it is a new moon eclipse, it is likely to bring about some kind of fast-paced and dramatic event or person into your life. So it'll be something which crops up somewhere between the beginning of June till around the 20th of June. So just be mindful to take note of any opportunities which fall into your lap at this time. For some of you, this will be a new job. So you may have an opportunity to travel overseas, and that's because Mercury rules your 9th house, which rules foreign countries and travel. This new job may require you to work with people from a different cultural background to you. It could be something to do with the travel industry or teaching. And also, this new job could involve social media, writing, communications. I mean, most jobs involve that these days, but nonetheless, it could also require you to use your hands, because Gemini rules the hands, fingers, digits, forearms, and it also rules our respiratory system. So whatever job that you're doing, it could involve breathing techniques, so for example yoga, or even just working in small groups and small teams. Now with this square to Neptune, it will require you to make some kind of sacrifice in order for you to be able to take this opportunity with both hands, pardon the pun. So for some of you, you may have to sacrifice some part of your daily routine as represented by the third house in order to accommodate this. Maybe you'll have to be separated from your friends or your siblings or your relatives. Maybe this new job will take you out of your comfort zone, or perhaps you'll no longer be working in a neighborhood or town that you grew up in, or that you are very familiar with, or that you are very fond of. Or your new job could simply require you to do a lot of travel as part of your daily routine. Now, some of you may be having a new boss enter the workplace, and you may actually know them already. It may be someone who you were acquainted with in the past. It could be your old boss coming back. I should note that with this Mercury, with this conjunction to Mercury, which will be retrograde, this new beginning, which is going to take off, will not catch you completely off guard. You will know of the job. It will be something which has been offered to you before, or again, like I said, you may already be acquainted with your boss, or you may have applied for this job quite a while ago and now you're finally landing it. On a different note, the sixth house rules your employees. So some of you may be welcoming a new employee onto the team, and this could be bittersweet for you because you may have seen one of your most beloved employees leave. They may have taken another job elsewhere, and that's why you've had to bring someone else on board. On a different note, some of you may be starting out a new diet or a new lifestyle choice when it comes to your eating habits. So you may decide to go vegan or vegetarian. Again, because Mercury is retrograde, this will be something which you have either done before or which you have been thinking about for a very long time. And in terms of the sacrifice with Neptune, your family and friends and siblings just may be not very supportive of this lifestyle change for you. And maybe you are a vegan or vegetarian and you're giving this up, and the people in your family and your friends may be questioning your decision. Anyway, moving along, on the 11th of June, Mars will enter the sign of Leo, and this means it will transit your 8th house for about 7 weeks. Wherever Mars goes, this is where we initiate something new, or this is where we put a lot of energy and effort into the domain of that house. So the 8th house rules sex, and a lot of you will be seeing a dramatic improvement in your sex life, and you may be putting a lot of effort into spicing up your sex life. You may start a new sexual relationship with someone. And on a different note, the 8th house rules your mutual resources. So if you are already in a relationship with someone, you may be putting a lot of effort into increasing the mutual resources between you. And it doesn't just have to be a romantic relationship. It could be the mutual resources between you and your business partner. The 8th house also rules over transformation. So a lot of you will be actively transforming your life. There's a number of different ways that you may do this, and these are some of the things which the 8th house rules. So you could be transforming your life by seeing a psychologist and working through trauma. It could be via tarot or Reiki, or getting an astrology reading, or even doing your own deep research into spirituality and the occult. And also the 8th house rules over inheritances and child support and alimony. So you may be putting a lot of energy and time into basically getting an inheritance which is rightfully yours, or procuring child support from your former partner and getting them to agree to that. Now, on the 15th of June, we are going to see the biggest astrological event take place for 2021, and that is Saturn in Aquarius square Uranus in Taurus. The first time that we saw this transit was back in February, but the difference this time around is that Saturn will actually be retrograde, which means that this transit will be a lot more intense than whatever you experienced around the 17th or the 18th of February earlier this year. The third and final time that this transit will hit will be in December on the 23rd / the 24th of December, depending where you live in the world. And also, if you don't know already, Saturn is your ruling planet. So this transit will have a really big impact on you, no matter whether you are a Capricorn sun, moon, or rising. This transit will not go unnoticed for you. Saturn is in your second house, squaring Uranus in your fifth house. Fixed sign squares require you to work harder to maintain something or to invest in something. Your second house rules your finances, your possessions, and your valuables, whereas your fifth house rules over your creativity, your business, if you own your own business, children, and also romance. I'm going to run through a number of different ways that this transit can play out for you. Just bear in mind, Capricorn, that this is a general reading, so not all of this is going to apply to you. Just take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Let's start with your income and your creative passions and your hobbies. If you have been working on starting your own business, or if you already own your own business, you may be stretching yourself very thin financially speaking in order to maintain your business and keep it afloat. And also, when Saturn is retrograde, or I should say the second hit of this transit with one of the planets being retrograde, means that you need to change something. So some of you will need to pour way more resources into your own business than what you initially anticipated, because if you don't, your business may be at risk of not surviving and not making it through. And also Saturn, which is your ruling planet, may be seeing you being quite physically drained at this time, which means that you may actually have to invest resources into hiring other people. Venus is activated in both your fifth house, which is Taurus, and your 10th house, which is Libra. So you may actually need to become a boss and employ other people so that you can actually, physically survive the demands of all of the long hours that you're putting into this. So, don't be shy to go ahead and research what that will mean for you, because Saturn wants you to streamline things and master them. So this can be you becoming a boss, because Saturn rules authority figures, bosses. It's your ruling planet, and it also represents your career. So you need to actually integrate something new, which is represented by Uranus in your fifth house, into your business to keep it afloat. And some of you may be resisting this because you are worried about the effect that it's going to have on your public image, which is also represented by Venus ruling your 10th house of career. Now, in terms of your self-worth and how much you value yourself, which is the second house, and your self-confidence, which is the fifth house, some of you may be investing a lot of money into your appearance or into something that you collect because it is having a positive impact on your own self-worth and how much you value yourself. And this in turn will boost your confidence. Now, the challenge with this particular investment into your own personal appearance and also into your course in life, because Saturn is your ruling planet, your family, which is represented by the second house as well as the fourth house, may just not understand you, or your children, which is represented by your fifth house, may not understand where you're coming from and why you are prioritizing this investment and, buying these valuables or these possessions, and they don't understand that it's having a positive impact on your self-confidence levels. Now, on a different note, some of you may be investing a lot of money into your children's future, because the second house is about money and finances, and this fixed sign square, as I said, is about investing in something further. Now, the next thing with this transit is that with your traditions You may be going against family traditions, which is represented by the second house when it comes to your children, whether that's how you're parenting them, what school you're sending them to, what you're doing with their health, or perhaps this is about you wanting to start a family, and maybe you're doing this in a non-traditional method, such as IVF, adopting, using a surrogate, fostering children, doing whatever you need to do in order to be able to start a family. And, this could be something, a journey which you've been on where your family haven't really been understanding and supportive of what you're going through and what you need to do to just get by. But keep going with it because, as I said, this transit is about you investing further in order to achieve the outcome or the desired outcome that you want to achieve. Now, lastly, with this transit, before I move along, some of you may be having to invest money and resources into your romantic partner or into your relationship in order to make it work. You could be paying off your partner's loan, any kind of loan, a mortgage, it could even be court case fees. And, some of you may be financially supporting your partner's career, and this could be really testing your relationship, especially around this time, which is June 15th. But again, we're going to see this transit take place for a third and final time at the end of the year, right before Christmas. Now, on the 21st of June, Jupiter will station retrograde in the sign of Pisces, which is in your third house. Jupiter entered the sign of Pisces back around mid-May. I think it was the 14th of May or the 13th, depending where you live in the world. So this will be a moment where you actually pause and reflect upon everything that you've learned and experienced over the last 5 weeks, especially with respect to your mentality, which is represented by the third house, and also embracing spirituality as shown by Jupiter and Pisces into your everyday life, which again would be your third house. You may experience a big shift in perspective when it comes to your siblings, your relatives, and your friends, and even your colleagues. And all of this is represented by the third house. And Jupiter in the sign of Pisces is very benevolent. It's very forgiving. So you may actually let go of a grudge which you've been harboring against one or more of those individuals. You may decide to forgive them, and you may even work on healing certain relationships. And even if this individual who's springing to mind as I'm saying this has sadly passed on, this can even be you letting go of a grudge that you're holding despite the fact that they're no longer in your life. And then on the 24th of June, we will see Venus in Cancer in your 7th house opposing Pluto in Capricorn in your 1st house. This is another tricky transit, but it is a very brief one. Pluto rules your 11th house, and Venus, which represents relationships, rules your 5th house, which is your romantic life, and your 10th house, which is your career and your public visibility. Let's break it down. Venus and Pluto both represent money, wealth, and resources in different ways, but nonetheless they do. So this opposition can see there being an argument between you and your significant other, you and your business partner, or you and someone that you're in a relationship with. It doesn't have to be romantic or business. It could even be a friend. And this argument or, this discord between you and the other person can be over money or resources. Now, with Venus representing relationships, you may decide to actually end a relationship with your romantic partner, with a business partner, or you may just decide to let go of a client relationship or a friend. This may be because they are not on board with your long-term goals and your aspirations. And lastly, from a romantic point of view, Venus represents relationships, as I said, and Pluto represents sex. Okay, so some of you may be arguing with your intimate partner over how valued you feel in your sexual relationship with them. Lastly, for the month, we've got a full moon in Capricorn in your sign at 3 degrees, which is taking place in your 1st house. This full moon is sextiling Jupiter in your 3rd house, and the sun will also be trining Jupiter in your third house. So with full moons, it's all about a chapter in our life ending and something reaching its peak, completion, or a culmination point. So for you guys, this can see you achieving some kind of important milestone in your life. Maybe you have successfully changed the course that you're on or the path that you're on. Maybe you have been working on a personal transformation. That could be at an inner level or at an outer level. So some of you may achieve a weight loss goal, or you may have been trying to transform your appearance in some way, especially because Pluto will be in the sign of Capricorn in your first house at the same time, and Pluto represents transformation. Whatever milestone you achieve or whatever end of a chapter or cycle takes place in your life, it may pertain to whatever fresh new beginning started back in December 2019 or back in January earlier this year. So Capricorn, that's all I have for you for June 2021. If you enjoyed this horoscope, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content from me at CAISTROLOGY, please subscribe to my channel. Enjoy the month ahead, and I will see you guys in July.